Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is wonderful Wednesday, March 6th, 2013. Yet another great, wonderful day to be alive, to be living on this earth, to be breathing crisp, clean oxygen into our lungs, and to be looking forward with faith into the future. And another great day, I'll tell you what it's another great day for. It's another great day to be an entrepreneur. Another great day to be thinking and working and learning how to add more value, one, to ourselves, and two, to those around us, through our entrepreneurial journeys, through our entrepreneurial endeavors. I'm so excited about that. I'm so grateful for that. So excited that we have the freedom to do that and to actually make decisions that will increase the value we experience in our lives and make decisions that will increase the value that others experience in their lives. That's called being an entrepreneur. And you know what? That's called being a member of the Think and Grow Rich family, of which you are one if you are on this call, and of which you may continue to be if you choose to join our family, to join our movement, and dial into this call every day, Monday through Friday, to get your mindset right. You know, that's what we do on this call every day. And there's a formula we repeat from time to time because it is the formula for getting results in your life. It is the formula for success. It is the formula for, you know, losing weight, making money, whatever it is you want to do. There's a really simple formula for it. And it's oftentimes the simple things that we find the most truth, isn't it? Isn't that fascinating how that works? But my friend Todd from Baltimore, Maryland shared with me a while ago the formula for getting a result, and that is mindset plus skill set times performance equals results. Mindset plus skill set times performance equals results. And you know, the mindset is what we focus on this call every day, Monday through Friday. There's plenty of great places to get the skill set, to learn exactly what to do in your business, exactly what to say, exactly what kinds of marketing to do. But, you know, I came to a conclusion a while back, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, but this is the conclusion that I came to, was that you could have all the marketing strategies in the world. You could have all the training on marketing. You could have all the you could have the right scripts given to you. You know, as a matter of fact, speaking of scripts, I got a call from a guy the other day, and I was on my way to lunch to meet with one of my friends, Brandon. We go to lunch a lot because we have the same mindset, and we like everyone on this call, we love learning, we love growing. And anyway, I'm on my way to lunch, and my phone rang, and I was driving, I wasn't doing anything else, so I clicked answer, and I said hello, and there was this very nice man on the other end of the line. And he started to read a script to me. It was a recruiting script. And you could tell that, you know, he was new and he was doing the best that he could, but the script, oh my goodness, it sounds so scripted. I mean, you could literally tell he was reading it. Maybe hadn't practiced it. And what was missing was the mindset, was the you know, the faith and the knowledge that what he was doing was worth it, and was, you know, there was a crusade there, and that faith, that mindset was missing there, and it didn't work as well as it maybe would have. I mean, it probably wouldn't have, because I'm very firmly set in my path. So the recurring script probably wouldn't have worked on me if it didn't have the mindset there. But the point is, there's this foundation that underlies everything we do as entrepreneurs, and we can strive to build a building, you know, like the oft quoted metaphor is, you know, the wise man built his house upon the rock, the foolish man built his house upon the sand. Most people run around trying to find the house that they can build upon the sand. And when you skip the mindset, that's what you're doing. When you skip the personal development, when you skip the time to work on yourself, to listen to the personal audios, to read the books, to get on calls like this, when you skip all of that, it literally is like you're building a house upon the sand, and maybe you might be able to get it up for a little bit, but you know what, that thing is not going to last. It's going to crumble and fall and wash into the ocean. But when you take the time to build the foundation, to work on yourself, to learn the formula for success, to learn how to develop faith in yourself, faith in your goal, faith in your vision, when you take the time to learn how to do that, you literally become unstoppable. literally unstoppable, where it doesn't matter, you could have all sorts of obstacles thrown in your way, and you will as an entrepreneur. You will, if you're doing something worthwhile, you're going to have obstacles. But with the right mindset, it doesn't matter, because you understand that obstacles are simply temporary setbacks, like we learn in Dr. Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, and you just learn to plow through them. So that's kind of what we do on this call every day, and excited about life, excited about getting things going.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good morning.
You're going to attack those 4 lessons?
Good morning.
You're going to attack the 4 lessons?
Awesome. We've done this call now for almost 3 years. Started it back in June of 2010 when I was living in a single-wide trailer house, and I started to experience some changes in my life, some massive changes that this stuff does that we can all experience. And coming up on June of this year, 3 years we've been doing this call every single day, Monday through Friday, and I'll tell you what, it's exciting. And one of the coolest things for me to have an opportunity to be the host of this call is I get to see so many changes that are happening in people's lives, and I get to see so many cool things that people are sharing. Like this morning, Scott, let's see, and oh my gosh, I've got his Facebook page here, so I don't have his last name. Darn it, Scott, I'm sorry, I have to get that later. But Scott, one of our mastermind callers, he shared a little post. He says, one of the greatest things you can do for yourself and others in your life's pursuits, no matter what it is never stop growing, learning, and believing in yourself. Your mindset is what will direct your steps throughout your journey in life. If your mindset is on the riches of life, not just money, but relationships, service to others, goal attainment, and more, then riches you will receive. And here's something that he said that's profound. He said, I like to say, it is okay to be where you are. It's not okay to stay there. And I love that message, and I want to say that to every single person on this call. It's okay to be where you are, wherever that's at. If you're homeless, there's a guy here in southeast Idaho, about 6-7 miles from where I live. When he started dialing into this call, he literally was living in a storage unit. Literally was homeless. So if you're homeless, it's okay. If you're living in a single-wide trailer house like I was, it's okay. If you're just getting started in your business and you haven't made a single dollar, if you haven't sponsored a single person, it's okay to be where you are. However, it's not okay to stay there. And that's, we get on this call every day to learn how to move forward a little bit, a little bit in life. We learn how to just move on. And what's fascinating, and then we're going to jump into the content of the call. What's fascinating to me is, Napoleon Hill in Think and Grow Rich talks about this mastermind principle, and he talks about when 2 minds come together, 2 or more minds come together, a third mind is created, almost like he calls it the psychic phase of the mastermind. And lately, I'll tell you what, I've experienced that on this call in a major way, to where it really, truly is like there is a whole different mind that comes together on this call as we, and 247 I think was 2 days ago. I checked the live caller count. 247 minds coming together for the same purpose to develop a rock solid, unshakable mindset. There's a new brain that forms, and just an example. This morning I was thinking about the call, and I was thinking about the content, and I was thinking about the chapter we're going to go through, and I was driving to the gym, and I thought of a quote that came to my mind that I shared quite a while back on the call that I heard from somebody else, and it's a quote from a movie called Shenandoah. Literally, I was driving to the gym this morning, and I was thinking about, what we're going to talk about on the call, and I thought of this quote. And the quote is, if we don't try, then we don't do. If we don't do, then why are we here? If we don't try, then we don't do, and if we don't do, then why are we here? And that kind of relates to what Scott shared, this morning about how it's okay to be where you're at, but it's not okay to stay there, because there's just something that it seems like life No matter what your religious background, no matter what your belief system, when you look at life, when you look at trees and flowers and animals and people, and it just seems like we're here to grow. It just seems like we're here to do things. It just seems like we're here to move forward in life. And so as I was thinking about that, I thought of that quote, if we don't try, then we don't do, and if we don't do, then why are we here? And so I go to the gym, and I'm on my way back, and I check my Facebook notifications, and Dustin from Dallas, do you know what he posted on his wall? He posted, if we don't try, then we don't do, and if we don't do, then why are we here? Isn't that interesting that I was thinking that thought and that Dustin all the way down in Dallas was thinking that exact same thought on the exact same day, pretty much at the exact same time? You know, I don't know why that is. But I have a feeling it has something to do with the mastermind. I have a feeling it has something to do with this intention that we have when we come on the call every day to develop a strong mindset. We have this intention of coming together and helping each other learn and helping each other grow and helping each other move from where we're at to where we want to be. And that this morning, Dustin, I'll tell you what, it was one of those experiences where the universe winked at me. Or, you know how we say, Peter from the Northeast shared with us, there are no coincidences, only divine appointments that we set for ourselves. That was one of those experiences, Dustin, to where the universe winked at me and said, hey, you guys are doing the right thing. You're moving in the right direction. Keep up the good work. And, hey, Dustin, I want to thank you for that. That was so cool to experience that. And I could share with you other experiences like that, this mastermind that's developing, and it's a great thing to be a part of. So, my friends, with that, if you are new to the call, I want to let you know we study two books, Think and Grow Rich by Dr. Napoleon Hill and The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles, and occasionally we'll dip into the book Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz and learn about identity and the self-image. But those are the three main books that we study on this call every day, because those are in my experience, those are really the foundation to really developing that strong mindset. And then in our mastermind portion of the call, all sorts of other stuff comes out that relates, different books people are reading, ideas that relate to the content. So that's kind of the format of the call. This is a non-recruiting call. No products mentioned on this call. No businesses. This is a safe place, okay? So please don't, when we get into the mastermind portion of the call, just keep that in mind. So with that, let's jump into the chapter, my friends, which is chapter 15 of The Science of Getting Rich. And this is entitled The Advancing Personality, and it relates a little bit to what we covered yesterday, The Impression of Increase, chapter 14. So let's jump into it and see what we can pull out and stick into our brains to move forward in a better way. What I have said in the last chapter applies as well to the professional person and the wage earner as to the person who is engaged in selling or any other form of business. No matter whether you are a physician, a teacher, or clergyman, if you can give increase of life to others and make them sensible of that fact, they will be attracted to you, and you will get rich. The physician who holds the vision of himself as a great and successful healer and who works toward the complete realization of that vision with faith and purpose, as described in former chapters, will come into such close touch with the source of life that he will be phenomenally successful. Patients will come to him in throngs. No one has a greater opportunity to carry into effect the teaching of this book than the practitioner of medicine. It does not matter to which of the various schools he may belong, for the principle of healing is common to all of them and may be reached by all alike. The advancing man in medicine who holds to a clear mental image of himself as successful and who obeys the laws of faith, purpose, and gratitude will cure every curable case he undertakes. In the field of religion, the world cries out for the clergyman who can teach his hearers the true science of abundant life. He who masters the details of the science of getting rich, together with the allied sciences of being well, of being great, and of winning love, and who teaches these details from the pulpit, will never lack for a congregation. this is a gospel that the world needs. It will give increase of life, and people will hear it gladly and give liberal support to the person who brings it to them. What is now needed is a demonstration of the science of life from the pulpit. We want preachers who can not only tell us how, but who will in their own persons show us how. We need the preacher who will himself be rich, healthy, great, and beloved, to teach us how to attain these things. And when he comes, he will find a numerous and loyal following. The same is true of the teacher who can inspire the children with the faith and purpose of the advancing life. He will never be out of a job, and any teacher who has this faith and purpose can give it to his pupils. He cannot help giving it to them if it is part of his own life and practice. What is true of the teacher, preacher, and physician is true of the lawyer, dentist, real estate agent, insurance agent, and I'll add in here of the online marketer, network marketer, home business professional, of everybody. The combined mental and personal action I have described is infallible. It cannot fail. Every man and woman who follows these instructions steadily, perseveringly, and to the letter will get rich. The law of increase of life is as mathematically certain in its operation as the law of gravity. Getting rich is an exact science. The wage earner will find this as true of his case as of any of the others mentioned. Do not feel that you have no chance to get rich because you are working where there is no visible opportunity for advancement, where wages are small and the cost of living high. Form your clear mental vision of what you want and begin to act with faith and purpose. Do all the work you can do every day, and do each piece of work in a perfectly successful manner. Put the power of success and the purpose to get rich into everything that you do. But do not do this merely with the idea of currying favor with your employer in the hope that he or those above you will see your good work and advance you. It is not likely that they will do so. The person who is merely a good worker, filling his place to the very best of his ability and satisfied with that, is valuable to his employer, and it is not to the employer's interest to promote him. He is worth more where he is. To secure advancement, something more is necessary than to be too large for your place. The person who is certain to advance is the one who is too big for his place, who has a clear concept of what he wants to be, who knows that he can become what he wants to be, and who is determined to be what he wants to be. Do not try to more than fill your present place with a view to pleasing your employer. Do it with the idea of advancing yourself. Hold the faith and purpose of increase during work hours, after work hours, and before work hours. Hold it in such a way that every person who comes in contact with you, whether foreman, fellow worker, or social acquaintance, will feel the power of purpose radiating from you, so that everyone will get the sense of advancement and increase from you. People will be attracted to you. And if there is no possibility for advancement in your present job, you will very soon see an opportunity to take another job. There is a power which never fails to present opportunity to the advancing personality who is moving in obedience to law. God cannot help helping you if you act in a certain way. He must do so in order to help himself. There is nothing in your circumstances or in the industrial situation that can keep you down. If you cannot get rich working for the Steel Trust, you can get rich on a 10-acre farm. And if you begin to move in a certain way, you will certainly escape from the clutches of the Steel Trust and get onto the farm or wherever else you wish to be. If a few thousands of its employees would enter upon the certain way, the Steel Trust would soon be in a bad plight. It would have to give its workers more opportunity or go out of business. Nobody has to work for a trust. The trusts can keep people in so-called hopeless conditions only so long as there are people who are ignorant of the science of getting rich or too intellectually slothful to practice it. Begin this way of thinking and acting, and your faith and purpose will make you quick to see any opportunity to better your condition. Such opportunities will speedily come, for the supreme power working in all and working for you will bring them before you. Do not wait for an opportunity to be all that you want to be. When an opportunity to be more than you are now is presented and you feel impelled toward it, take it. It will be the first step toward a greater opportunity. There is no such thing possible in this universe as a lack of opportunities for the person who is living the advancing life. It is inherent in the constitution of the cosmos that all things shall be for him and work together for his good, and he must certainly get rich if he acts and thinks in this certain way. So let wage-earning men and women study this book with great care and enter with confidence upon the course of action it prescribes. It will not fail. So that, my friends, is Chapter 15 of the Advancing Personality and the Science of Getting Rich, and we're going to jump into the mastermind portion of the call. I'll start it out. If you're new to the call, I want to let you know just kind of how this works. Basically, we go through the content of the study, the first 15, 20, sometimes 30 minutes of the call, and then the latter part of the call is the mastermind portion. And the idea here is that if you've been touched by a line of the chapter, if you've been touched by the chapter, if you see experiences in your own life and your own business that kind of help to further illustrate the concept of what we're all coming together to learn on a deeper level, then please, by all means, feel free to unmute your line and come out and share what touched you, share that experience, share that story, share about that person who is doing a great job of living the advancing personality, so that we can all mastermind and understand a little bit better, what the author was trying to communicate to us in the read for the day. So with that, I do want to share with you just a couple ideas on this chapter. The first idea that comes to me is this idea, this buzzword that we see in the marketplace. Those of us who are in the home business profession, there's a buzzword, that's been out there for the last few years since the internet came out, and it's attraction marketing. And everyone's out there talking about, attract customers and business to you, using the internet and so on and so forth, this attraction marketing. And there's so much confusion out there about attraction marketing, I think, because I hear about people who throw up a web page and, they think all of a sudden they're an attraction marketer. And it doesn't work in a lot of cases, and the reason why is explained in this chapter. The law of attraction, the concept of attracting business to you, this is not a new concept. It didn't come out with the advent of the internet. This book that we're going through was written in the early part of, I think it was like 1912 that this book was written. And isn't it fascinating that Wallace Wattles is talking about people being attracted to the advancing personality? So the other day I had the opportunity to interview one of my mentors, one of our callers on this call, Doc Fran. He's dialed into this call every day now for, 2 years now, I think, Doc. And Doc and I have worked together in the past, and we're very good friends. And I had the opportunity to interview Doc. And if you don't know Doc, this is a guy who's made millions of dollars in the network marketing industry. And he's also someone who's active in the business and having success today in his network marketing business, doing great things, building a thriving team, doing awesome things in the marketplace. So he's someone who's in the game, right? In the game. And I interviewed him last week, and as we went through that interview, and Doc, he's a little bit older than me, right? He's in his 60s, and he's had a lot of life experience. And as I interviewed Doc, and as he shared experiences with me about life and the things he's gone through and the spiritual experiences that he's had and the lessons that he's learned, I sat there doing this interview, and the thought came to me that, I'm attracted to this. I'm attracted to this guy because he's adding value. He has things that I want to learn and that I want to, bring into my life. He's got this life experience. He's an example of the advancing personality, and I just got this thought that I'm just automatically attracted to this person. And so we stopped the interview and we talked a little bit about, attraction marketing at that point in the interview because Doc he's an attractive guy in the sense of this advancing personality. Another reason why I feel that Doc is a good example of someone who's living the advancing personality. As I've worked with Doc, over the we worked together, full time for about 2 years. And, every day for 2 years, with the exception maybe Sunday, on the weekend, I usually take the day off on Sunday, but Monday through Friday and oftentimes Saturday, I'd call him, and he'd call me and I'd call him, and which, every single time, with the exception of maybe, we went through a rough spot in our business together where we weren't quite as excited as usual, but other than that, every single time I called Doc Fran, every single time, I'd be like, "Hey, Doc, how's it going?" He's, "Oh, Paul," he's like, "Oh, man, just when I thought life couldn't get any better, you won't believe what happened." And then he'll share with me something exciting that happened in his life. Or other times I'd call him and I'd be like, "Doc, what are you doing? How's it going?" He's like, "Oh, man, Paul, you wouldn't believe it. I'll tell you, I'm driving down the road. The sunroof is open on my car. I got the window down. The warm Palm City breeze is flying through the window and hitting my face. And I see the ocean over here to my side, and oh man, I'm just having a beautiful day." And then another time I'd call him, "What are you doing, Doc?" "Oh man, Paul, I'm having lunch with one of my best friends. The day just couldn't get any better." And this guy is one of the most positive people I've ever met in my entire life. Very rarely, I could count on one hand the times where there's maybe been something that was unpleasant for us to talk about, that we had to talk about because it was, going on in the business that we were involved in. And this, my friends, to me he's just a shining example of someone who's living who's a walking, living, breathing example of the advancing personality. He's adding value to my life through positive energy. He's adding value to my life through humor. He'll tell me jokes from time to time. "Paul, I heard a great joke, let me tell you," and he'll give me a laugh. So this is just a good example of the advancing personality I wanted to share with everybody. And people are attracted to that. Business is attracted to that. Money is attracted to that. Circumstances are attracted to that. And so if we can come together and mastermind on how to do that better in our businesses, there's no question that we will have more people, more customers, more distributors, more cash flow into our lives. So with that, I'm anxious to hear your thoughts. Let me go and open up the line.
Good morning, Paul.
Hey, Karen here.
Hey, good morning, Karen. Go ahead.
Morning.
Good morning. Hey, is that John? Sorry. This is Karen, Elizabeth, and so much of what you said, Paul, in that last when you were talking about Doc Fran, that was such an encouragement because it's an encouragement for all of us that that's the direction that we need to be heading so that we are a continually positive person. But there's a couple of things you said when you were talking about the wise man builds his house upon a good foundation. Wow, that really encouraged me. Every one of us that are entrepreneurs are like, we go through like this business and that business, and we're looking and we're constantly on the search for like what's going to do it for us, what's going to make it for us. And I just want to encourage everybody, if you've all been in that place and you've tried this business and that business, you are on the right track because you are seeking for what is going to make it for you, because that's the life of, we're growing and we're learning. However, I believe also in what Paul's saying when he says that we need to be wise and set a good foundation. And that is why mindset principles are as they are, and that's what we are to learn. So I was very encouraged by that. And then I was encouraged, if you don't try, then you don't, then you don't do. If you don't do, then, why are we here? I mean, having that purpose in life is just, setting that up for like the next 5 years at least is very, very important. So those are the things that I was encouraged by. Of course, Wallace Waddle's, book in this chapter 15 is just amazing. There's a lot more to say about it, but I'm just going to pass it on. And thank you so much for this great, great call this morning.
Thank you, Karen. Awesome comments.
Yeah,
I heard Melvin. I heard Melvin in there. Melvin and then Bill.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yes, it is a great subject matter this morning. To get rich is in the actions that we take. So it's in everything we do. We can start being rich right now simply by, to be your very best. To be your very best in every action and everything you do, you're already on your way and in the process of being rich at that moment. And we've talked about so many of these things in terms of living in the now and giving it your very best. That can't help but take you to being rich. And for all of us to know that, just to remember that money is a part of it. It's a part of it. But the real treasure is in living a rich life. And that's why so many of the people that we remember more so than even those that had gained a great deal of wealth are those that live a rich life. And if you're living a rich life, you can't help but enriching the lives of other people. It all goes hand in hand. And I do like what the young lady just got through talking about. For those of you that are in businesses, don't make the mistake of the business you're in to become so locked into it and there's something wrong with you because it may not be the right one for you. I have been into, and I mean literally, I've been into hundreds of them. And there's something to be learned and there's something to be gained. And we also have a whole different, it's a whole different game now with the internet compared to what used to be in terms of sales and entrepreneurs. So good point that she made. And with that, back to you, Paul.
Great thoughts, Melvin. Absolutely. It's a learning process. And as long as we understand that at some point, we do want to strive to pick a horse and ride it. I think that's really, really important to having a lot of success in the home business profession. Bill Winch, go ahead, sir.
Good morning, Paul. It's really amazing. It's really amazing how much of Jim Rohn you have ingested. I hear so much of intonations and phrases and principles that Jim Rohn has said over and over. It's really amazing. I'm always awestruck about the way in which you present so many things, and it's just really makes me so great in the morning. But the point I wanted to talk about this morning was there was a paragraph in the reading that says, "What is now needed is a demonstration of the science of the life from the pulpit. We want preachers who can not only tell us how, but who in their own persons will show us how. We need the preacher who will himself be rich, healthy, great, and beloved, to teach us how to attain to these things. And when he comes, he will find a numerous and loyal following." I go to a church where we have actually no paid ministry worldwide in the church. And each of the various congregations throughout the world are called to preside over a particular congregation. And every one of those people have been successful, whether it's in business or their particular vocation, and to lead and guide us. And that just, when I heard this, it just really hit home because of the understanding of why these people are called is because they have that experience, they've been successful, and you can't lead and guide somebody if you have not achieved that level of understanding to help the people in your congregation. So I just wanted to share that because that paragraph really hit home. Back to you, Paul.
Hey, Bill, awesome. I love that paragraph as well, and it gives a lot of encouragement because it does seem like there's plenty of room, Learn how to be healthy, learn how to be rich, plenty of room for those teachers. Star 6, who's next?
Hey, Paul.
Hello?
Yeah, I think I heard. Was that John first there?
Indeed it was.
Hey, go ahead first, John.
Good morning, Think and Grow Rich family. Wow. You know what? I got to tell you, every day, the more people that come on, the more energy is generated. The more we grow, we learn, we mastermind. You know, right now, it's such an exciting time to be alive. At no other point in all of human history do we have the opportunity that is presented to us today, right now. We can turn on the internet and instantly gain access to thousands of years of recorded knowledge. And I mean, just stop and think about that. You know, more content, more literature, more song, more data is generated in one day, in a 24-hour period, than had been generated in years. So, you know, just appreciate that. One of the things that really just popped out to me today was the paragraph that reads, "The person who is certain to advance is the one who is too big for his place, who has a clear concept of what he wants to be, who knows that he can become what he wants to be, and who is determined to be what he wants to be." Now, how does that correspond to where we're at? And I'm going to speak from the viewpoint of a home-based business person. I know that there are other folks on the call, so I'm sure you can go ahead and relate it to what it is that you guys do. But, you know, your aura, who you are as a person, who you are as a business builder, who you are as a leader can change in an instant. It's absolutely proven without a shadow of a doubt. I've seen it, I felt it, I've experienced it within my community, my mentors. They have seen it. It's literally changing in an instant. And all it takes is really a decision. Whether or not you've never sponsored anyone in your whole career, if you decide, if you make an internal decision that your life will change and that you will suffer no substitute, that there is nothing that you will not do, within reason, of course, in order to make that happen. There is no point at which you will give up. There is no, I'm going to try this for 2 weeks. There is no, I'm going to try this for 90 days and see how it works out. There is no, I'm going to try this for 6 months, and if it doesn't happen, then it doesn't happen. No. It's, I'm going to do it, period. When you make that decision on an internal basis, other people feel it. Other people can see your focus, can feel your dedication. They can see that there is something different about you. I've got a really good friend, one of my mentors. His name is Justin. Justin almost died. He literally almost died one day. He was at a waterfall and he got sucked beneath the water, and he almost died. My other mentor, David, actually had to swim over, grab the guy, and pull him physically out of the water. The guy was probably about 30 seconds to 45 seconds away from death. And a crazy thing happened. You know, up until that point, Justin's experience within the network marketing realm, within the home-based business realm, was such that he had only been doing about $4K a month total with all of his income streams. From that point, from the point that he came out of that water, it was like he became a new person. There was a switch. There was a switch, just like that, in an instant. Within 30 days, the guy made $26,000. Within another 4 months, the guy is over like $40,000 a month. His whole life, his whole experience, who he is as a person has changed. No, I'm not telling you that you need to go and almost die somewhere. in order to make this happen. But you do have to make a commitment to yourself, to your dreams, to your hopes, to your desires, to your family, that you will be in this thing no matter what. It doesn't matter if you don't sponsor anyone for the next year, for the next 2 years. You know, if unfortunately you happen to have a career like mine, I couldn't sponsor anyone for 2 years, literally for 2 years. I couldn't sponsor myself if someone paid. It was horrible. It was horrible. It was just a bad experience. But then something happened. Something changed. I decided that enough was enough, and I made a commitment right then and there. My honey actually had to sit me down, and she said, John, you've been at this thing for over 2 years now. Is it time to start looking at something else? In that very second, I heard myself say, I will never give up. If someone else can do this, then so will I. I will be a success in this industry. After over 2 years of failure, that was the very moment, that was the inflection point that I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that no matter what, I would not give up. And that's where you need to be on a personal basis. You need to be sold out to your dream, that no matter what, you will not give up. When you get to that point, when you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that no matter what, you will succeed, that you will do what is necessary. You will stay up late. You will get up early. You will. I was about to say you will make the calls, but guess what? We don't have to do that anymore. Bottom line is that when you make the decision to make it, it starts to happen. Back to you, Paul.
Love that story, John. Love it. Hey, there
Thank
were a
you,
couple
John.
people coming
Thank
out.
you.
Hello, hey, Paul.
Yeah. Who's that? Go ahead.
This is Kater.
Oh, honey. My name's Kijana. I'm new to the calls and everything. I just joined Empower Network.
Hey,
and
Kijana, this is, please do not apologize. Please don't mention company names where this is a generic call.
okay.
But yeah, if you could hold for just 1 second. Cater was right ahead of you. Let's let Cater go first, and you can come right after him.
I'll just let her go since she's brand new, so just let her go.
Okay, that's nice.
No
Thanks,
problem.
Cater. Kijana, go ahead. Sorry about that.
Oh, I was just gonna say that I appreciated when you spoke on, living positively, because I know that there's a lot of people out there that are dealing with, their life situations, health problems. Like me, I have some serious health problems, and I literally had to catch myself because, I would find myself, like when a person, calls me and asks me, how are you doing today? I kind of formed the mind frame of, okay, does this person really want to know, or do they just want to hear good things? But, and I would find myself, being negative, and I had to change that mind frame about myself and realize that I can't, I'm going to start pushing people away. No matter what, I'm going to start pushing people away because they're not going to want to hear about that anymore. And I also, I started realizing that it also has a lot to do with who you surround yourself around, and how if you surround yourself around people that are bleeding positivity, that are doing the things that you've always wanted to do, you're going to start to feel like maybe I can do it too, And when I used to live in this apartment building that was in the middle of the city, and I'm not knocking the city, but this particular street is one of the worst streets I'm from Rochester, New York, and it was pretty bad. And at first, I'm happy that I was living on my own and all that stuff, but then I started realizing, okay, my next door neighbor upstairs was a crackhead, and my car had got broken into twice and all this stuff. It was just, being around that and seeing all these different people who weren't going anywhere, it just ended up making me feel just so stagnant. Like, I'm just like, is this what I have to look forward to, But then when I ended up moving out of that situation in the next apartment, I told myself that no matter what, I'm going to put myself in an environment where people are reaching for success, where people are meeting their goals. And I ended up getting an apartment in, a really nice, artistic type area. And it just changed my whole outlook on the world, seeing, having neighbors that are, in college, neighbors that, have graduated and are doing their thing, and just living positively and just enjoying their lives. And it's just, I feel that it's really important for people to realize that the people that you surround yourself around, you're going to start to pick up some of the characteristics of those people. You might try not to, but eventually certain things start to rub off. And, yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to say.
Kajana, so powerful. Thank you so much for sharing, and congratulations on making powerful choices in your life. Keep up the good work. That's just so encouraging. Cater, go ahead, sir.
Hey, Paul. How you doing this morning?
Good, man. How are you?
Awesome. Great. I'm so excited. It's always an excitement to come here. And I love the story. You just heard the story from the young lady. Just want to tell you, keep pushing, keep going. You're in the right place. You're with the right mind people, and you're going to get there. And, man, John Chapman, I just love this guy. I just love hearing this guy talk. Always pump me up, always in the morning when he comes on the call. Just to relate back to what John was saying, to go back into it, it's to have that vision. And I could literally feel the same way, because I remember there was a time my wife said it was literally crazy to leave my job at the hospital to do this full-time from home. And sometimes things, sometimes you're going to have success, sometimes you're going to have fall down. And in this business, it's not guaranteed. And people, they love to have that feeling of comfortable, that feeling, that in that spot that they and things are going to be, they have that comfortability, that things is going to stay there. So being in that spot, she felt in a way, but I was so convicted in my mind. I was so convicted in my spirit, and understanding that there's a pattern to success. And when you can follow it, when you can find a group of people who studied it, who follow it, no matter where you are, one thing Paul said earlier, I put on my Facebook, it's okay to be where you are right now, but it's not okay to stay there. But when you can find that vision and you become convicted in your mind, you become convicted, you have the vision, you know where you're going, even when nobody else can see it, even when your friends, your neighbor, your family, no one can see it, but due to the fact that you're so focused and you get to that group of people who's uplifting you, because you've seen other people do it. You've seen other people who have the vision. You hear other people who made it, who had that same vision that you are. So that gives you a booster that tells you can do it, because you hanging with them. You having the same mindset they are. You taking the same road that they took. And I was listening to Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins, he was talking about how Sylvester Stallone, he played the movie Rocky, and when he first came to the United States, his English wasn't so great. He wanted to be an actor. He didn't know what to do with his life anymore. He was living in a little apartment with his wife. Things was working down. It was really cold in New York City. And one day he went to the library. He read a book. And that book he read really changed his life. So he went and write the movie Rocky. Everywhere he go, everybody was rejecting him, about the movie. He wanted to come in. His English wasn't so right. He wanted to play in the movie. He wanted to be the actor. But his wife just told him, just quit that business. It's not going to work. Just quit it. Go get a job. Go get a 9-to-5. And he said, they asked him, why you never get a job until your wife even went to the point she left you? She said, you know what? The reason I didn't get a 9-to-5 is because I wouldn't have that fire anymore. I would have lose my fire. So don't lose your fire. I would lose my vision. So with that being said, guys, don't lose your fire. Don't lose your vision. Keep pushing. God bless you all. Back to you, Paul.
You're awesome, Cater. Thank you. Star 6, who's next?
Paul, it's Dolores.
Hey, Dolores. How are you?
I am super. To add to the conversations that's just taken place, the most important thing that you can do is be true to yourself. Then you will do well in whatever it is you want to do. But you have to be true to yourself. You can't be true to somebody else's dream, only yours. Back to you.
Thank you, and great point.
Hey, Paul, Jim from Denver.
Hey, Jim from Denver.
Okay, so in school I learned that we are what we eat, what we read, and who we hang around with.
We are what we eat, what we read,
and who we hang around with.
So true.
We emulate those things, and so if we want to be healthy, here's something that's interesting. I was hearing a doctor talk about food. For us, when we eat food and when we drink a liquid, we enjoy the taste and we savor the texture. But actually what's happening is the food is information for our body. And if we're taking in sugar, our body's going to respond to that sugar by giving us diabetes. If we drink alcohol, our liver's not going to like that very much. So food is really just information to our bodies, and what we read is information, and who we hang around with is information. So I just wanted to give that back to you, Paul. Have a great day.
That is profound. Jim, thank you so much. The food we eat is information for our bodies. Wow. Love that.
Hey, Paul. This is Lisa.
Hey, Lisa. Good morning.
Good morning, Paul, and good morning, Think and Grow Rich family. So I am coming to you from Maryland, where it's nice and snowy, but of course, certainly not the snowy that they experience in the middle, and where Paul comes from, where Liz. Our snow is like 2 or 3 inches, but it closes down like the whole city. The government is closed for like 3 inches of snow. But anyway, so I was thinking about everything that everyone said, and in the reading, this actual chapter answered a question for me that I've always had when I was working, and it actually said, there is a power which never fails to present opportunity to the advancing personality who is moving in obedience to the law. God cannot help helping you if you act in a certain way. He must do so in order to help himself. And I used to always, when I was working a job, there were people who always used to be advancing. And they always used to be going from place to place, moving and growing. And the same is in the home business arena. It's sort of like the same thing when we talk about the rich get richer and the poor gets poorer. And this answered the question for me, and then I related it to me because basically one thing we've thought about many times, or what we talked about, is results. We talked about what are the results that we're getting. And basically, instead of us saying challenges or failures, we say the word results. And if we see those people in our home-based business or in the same business advancing, and we're not advancing as quickly or what have you, then we have to look at, are we doing things in a certain way? And what has really brought clarity for me personally is I've reread chapter 12, where it talked about we have to do things in an efficient manner, and basically those who don't get the results, you can look back at their daily works and see how efficient or inefficient they're being. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then also, Wallace Waddle says that this is an exact science. If you follow this, it's going to happen. And I was like, oh my Lord. It was just amazing to me personally that I could literally look at my day. And for all of us, this is just, and encouraged me, look at your day. When you're talking about being rich, how efficient are you in doing exactly what you said you were going to do in order to attain your goal? And not just doing it, but finishing it. I was like, oh, my Lord. So even though, I've gotten checks in the mail, I still get checks in the mail, but I've not reached, I haven't had the results. I was like, oh, my Lord, there are some things that are undone. I need to get them done. I need to use that power that will always work in my favor when I work it. And I was like, oh, my Lord, that's the answer. That's why those who advance will always keep advancing because of their mindset. And those who are not, once you change the mindset, it is a science. It is almost a guarantee that you will be successful. It's just changing your mindset and doing the efficient things and not leaving anything undone, and then you will achieve your purpose. My Lord, I don't know. It just was amazing to me. That's all I wanted to say. Back to you, Paul.
Lisa, it's amazing to me, too, and hearing you talk about that it's a science and that it's a law and feeling the truth of that, it just encourages me so much because I know that, all good things are located on the other end of a decision and on the other end of an action and on the other end of us thinking and acting in a certain way. And that encourages me. So I love hearing that excitement. I did want to ask everyone, this chapter is the advancing personality. And listening to Kajana talk about, how when people would ask her, how are you doing today? And, she wasn't feeling well and she had to catch herself. Here are three great questions to ask ourselves to kind of help us get a little bit of an indication whether we might need to be making some changes in some certain things. Number one, what does your voicemail sound like? What does your voicemail sound like? When someone calls and gets your voicemail, what does that sound like? Number two, what does your greeting sound like? Like when you say hello to someone, what does it sound like? Are you like, hey, how's it going? So excited to see you. Does it sound like that? Or is it like, hey, how's it, hi. A little bit of a difference there. And the last one is, like Kajana pointed out, what do you say when someone asks you, how are you doing? And I'll tell you the one I hate the worst is not too bad. I hear people say that, not too bad. Oh, so you're bad but not too bad? Come on, let's liven it up. Let's have an advancing personality. So 3 questions I think are good to ask ourselves.
I'd always up and listen to this.
Star 6, who's next? We got a few minutes left here.
Hey, Paul, it's Lindy.
Hey, Lindy.
Good morning, everybody. The topic is so awesome, and it's so deep. And I believe this is something that, like Doc Frank talks about, is the peeling of the onion. And I don't believe we will ever stop going from layer to layer to layer within ourselves when we're seeking to develop the advancing personality. But one thing that came to my mind with what the conversation was, the direction it was going in, was whatever you're feeding is going to be stronger. And I'm just going to leave it at that so everybody can think about that and what are you feeding in your life. And one other thing is a quote that I ran across not too long ago from Warren Buffett, and it says, the chains of habit are too light to be felt until they are too strong to be broken. So I think those are 2 things that go hand in hand together. And if we're looking at, it's just like the food. If you're eating sugar, your body's going to crave sugar. If you give in to that and you keep eating sugar, it just wants more and more and more. It's never satisfied. But I've done this before where I cut out sugar completely out of my diet, and at first my body was screaming for it, but it wasn't but maybe 5 or 6 days, and it didn't do that anymore. So, habits are, you have to think about them consciously if you want to change a habit, whether it's your thought pattern, whether it's the people you're hanging around and you're listening to, whether it's the type of music you listen to, or movies or television shows that you watch. All of that is information going into your brain, whether you realize it or not, and it is going into your subconscious, and it is creating these thought patterns and habits. So we have to be careful what we let go into our brain. And we have a choice. That's your power. If you are not making the choice and exercising your power, then you're giving your power away to whatever flies in your path, whichever way the wind blows. And according to Outwitting the Devil, then you're being a tool for the devil to deter other people if you're throwing negativity at them. So we've got to watch what we put in our brains, and we've got to watch what we put in our bodies, and keep the faith. That's power. That's the ultimate power, is 100% faith. So that's all I have to say today. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. Back to you, Paul.
Lindy, you are a very, very wise woman. I really appreciate what you've shared with us, and appreciate everybody. I've pulled some nuggets. I've pulled some quotable quotes from the call today. Excited about what I've learned. Let's take what we've learned. Let's get out there, take action, move forward. Be positive, my friends. Be positive. Eliminate the negativity to the best of our ability and live that advancing personality. Take action, move forward. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning on the Think and Grow Rich call. Have a great day, everyone. Bye for now.